Hey guys, Richard here again. Today is a part 2 video on the 3rd generation Mustang. As you might, so yeah, it's a part 2 video on the 3rd generation Ford Mustang. As you've seen in part 1, I did talk about this car, talking about, when it was produced, from what year, from the start up until the very end. On what platform it was built on, and what it was referred to, and what models it was involved throughout, and like different drivetrains and whatnot. Overview, manufacturer, what it was also called, production, model year, assemblies in different countries and places where it was built at, the designer, body and chassis, the class, body style, layout, platform, and what cars it was related to, powertrains like different engines, transmissions, dimensions, like the wheelbase length, different widths, different heights, and different curb weights, chronology, predecessors, and its successors as well. Now, we're going to talk about each version of the car. So, today, for part 2, we're going to talk about the 1979 to 1982 versions. So, here we go. Before I start, make sure you guys like this video, subscribe, comment below what you guys think, hit that notification bell, and hit all so you're alerted of when I make new uploads. With that being said, let's get started. So, 1979 to 1982. Here we go. The 1979 model year Mustang was based on the Fox platform. This chassis was Ford's initiative to build a one-size-fits-all car to serve as a two-door sports car and a four-door family car. With its initial use by the larger Ford Fairmont and the Mercury Zephyr, twins that debuted in the 1978 model year. Ford built the 1979 Mustang around a platform it would share with more humble cars in the Lincoln Mercury Ford corporate family in order to keep development and construction costs down. Body styles for the Mustang included a two-door sedan and a coupe or saloon or coupe, and a three-door sedan, hatchback or compact or saloon or anything. Two trim levels were available: the base model and the more luxurious Ghia model. I can't really pronounce it. It's spelled Ghia model. The wheelbase was 5 inches, 127 millimeters shorter than the Fairmont slash Zephyr series, and 105 no not 100 not 105 sorry 100.5 there we go inches, 2,553 millimeters, nearly the same as the outgoing European Ford Capri, and over 4 inches, 102 millimeters longer than the Mustang 2, or the second generation Mustang. Next up we got is Cobra. The Cobra appearance package also made its debut in 1979 and would continue through both the 1980 and 1981 model years. The 1979 Cobra, only 17,579 produced, featured a black grille, trim, and moldings except the sail panels that were painted body color, as well as black lower body paint. The door handles, door locks, antenna, and roof drip rail were bright. Color coordinated dual pinstripes in the wraparound body side moldings and bumpers, as well as Cobra decals on the doors, were standard. All 1979 Cobras came equipped with a small center mount non-functional hood scoop to provide clearance for the air cleaner due to the 2.3 liter turbo extra height. The Cobra hood decal was optional for 1979. Rear spoilers were not included on the 1979 models, as they made their debuts on the mid-year introduction of the Indy 500 or Indianapolis 500 pace car replica. The 1980 Cobra 5,550 produced, and the 1981 Cobra 1,821 produced, received a new front bumper and air dam with fog lights, non-functional cowl type hood scoop, and rear spoiler, all carried out from the earlier pace car replicas. Graphics included belt line stripes, a redesigned hood decal, and Cobra decals on both the side quarter windows and the rear wing. The excuse me. The exterior trim on both the 1980 and 1981 Cobras was black, including the door handles, key locks, antenna, and sail panels. Interior Cobra specific parts on all 1979-1981 Cobras included engine turned dash bezels and 3 Cobra emblems, one in each door panel and one on the passenger side dash bezel. Drivetrains in the 1979 model year consisted of the 140 cubic inch 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine rated at 98 kilowatts, 133 PS, 131 horsepower with a Borg-Warner 4-speed manual gearbox, or the small block 302 cubic inch 4.9 liter marketed as a 5-liter V8 rated at 104 kilowatts, 141 PS, 139 horsepower with a 4-speed manual overdrive gearbox, or a 3-speed, not 2-speed, sorry, 3-speed automatic gearbox. For the 1980 model year only, the 2.3-liter 4-cylinder turbo engine was available with an optional 3-speed automatic gearbox. However, the 4-speed manual was still standard. The 302 small block V8 was replaced with a 4.2-liter 255 cubic inch V8 rated at 88 kilowatts, 120 PS, 118 horsepower with a 3-speed automatic gearbox. For the 1981 model year, the powertrains listed was expanded to include a naturally aspirated 2.3-liter engine and a 3.3-liter 200 cubic inch inline 6 engine. The 2.3-liter turbo engine was only available in Canada. The auto transmission was no longer optional, and the 4-speed manual gearbox was replaced by an overdrive 5-speed manual gearbox made by Tremec. The model is a VS140. The 4.2-liter V8 also remained optional in 1981, rated this time at 89 kilowatts, 122 PS, 120 horsepower. Excuse me. Next up, we got the Indianapolis pace cars. The Ford Mustang was chosen as the official pace car of the 1979 Indy 500. Ford commenced this event with a mid-year Indy 500 pace car version. Only 10,479 were produced. All were finished in two-tone pewter, which I don't know what it means. It's spelled Pewter, and black with orange and red graphics. Graphics. The front end was black, so black with orange and red graphics. So I'm just saying it again, but slowly, so you guys will know. Graphics. The front end featured a unique front air dam with fog lights and a full-length cowl type hood scoop, while the rear was available with a new for 1979 rear wing. All of these additions carried over to both the 1980 and 1981 Cobra. The black interior featured Recaro seats with patterned black and white inserts. Available were the 2.3-liter 140 cubic inch 4-cylinder turbo with a 4-speed manual, or the 302 cubic inch 4.9-liter V8, also references a 5-liter V8, with either a 4-speed manual overdrive or a 3-speed auto. The production cars included a sunroof. However, the three actual pace cars were fitted with a T-top by Cars and Concepts of Brighton, Minnesota, I think it was. I don't really know, but I think it is. I think it is Minnesota. I don't know, but I think it is Minnesota. So Brighton. So I think it might be Minnesota. I don't know. I guess. Oh, Michigan. Sorry. So of Brighton, Michigan, the removable panel roof option would not be an available option until the 1981 model year. Next up, we got is GT. In 1982, the Cobra model was dropped in favor of the Mustang GT, which returned after 13 years. This would garner the slogan, "The Boss is Back." This new GT model featured a rear-engineered 117 kilowatt, 159 PS, 157 horsepower, high output Windsor 302 cubic inch 4.9 liter V8 engine with new valves, a more aggressive cam from a 1973 351W Torino application, um, a larger two-barrel carburetor, a revised firing order, and a better breathing intake and exhaust system. The Tremec SROD 4-speed manual override was the standard and the only available gearbox behind the 302 4.9 liter in 1982. The dual snorkel air cleaner was emblazoned with 5 liter HO lettering. Emblazoned, I don't know what that means. Or embedded, I would say, with 5 liter HO lettering. So the GT included the front air dam with fog lights, or fog lamps, and the rear wing from the 1979 pace car and the 1980 and 1981 Cobras. However, the full length hood scoop from those models did not carry over, and the smaller 1979 Cobra hood scoop made its return on the GT. 4 colors were offered on the GT model, and they consisted of black, bright red, which is from the mid-year introduction, dark red, and silver. The 302 cubic inch 4.9 liter V8 was available on lower trim models, which is the L, GL, and GLX. It also formed the basis for the SSP, special service package cars that were used by government as well as police/law enforcement, and were also exclusively ordered in the two-door sedan body style. If an automatic gearbox was ordered in the 1982 GT, the 302 4.9 liter engine was replaced with the 255 4.2 liter engine, which was carried over from 1981. The automatic gearbox was a Ford C5, which replaced the Ford C4 or not C4 as an explosive, but C4 as a gearbox. Replaced the Ford C4 in 1981. The hood scoop was optional at an extra cost. On the 1982 GT was the 4.2 liter engine and C5 automatic. The carbureted turbocharged 2.3 liter engine was also available in the 1982 GT, but only in the Canada market. So it's in the Canadian market only. Next up, we got powertrains. Engines for the 1979 to 1982 models included the 88 horsepower, 66 66 kilowatt. So 66 kilowatt, 89 PS, 88 horsepower, 2.3 liter Pinto inline 4. And 81 kilowatt, 81 kilowatt, 110 PS, 109 horsepower, 2.8 liter Cologne V6 made by Ford of Germany, and a 104 kilowatt, 100 and So 104 kilowatt, 104, so 104 kilowatt, 141 PS, 140 horsepower Ford small block engine back in 1982 with the with the nickname of a 5.0 L, which is 5 liter, and with its front fenders badged as such. All were carried over from the Mustang 2 line shortly after the model year started at 89 at 66 kilowatts, 88 PS. What? Say, hold on. 89 PS, 89 horsepower. 3.3 liter straight 6 engine were available. Supplies of the 2.8 liter V6 proved inadequate, leading to it being discontinued in late 1979. A new 98 kilowatt, 133 PS, 132 horsepower, 2.3 liter turbo 4-cylinder debuted that offered a similar horsepower to the V8. Both the 2.3 and 2.3 liter turbo, as well as the V8 models, could only be optioned with the newly developed TRX handling, suspension that included Michelin 390mm tires and accompanying metric-sized wheels. Following the second oil crisis in 1979, the 302 V8 engine was dropped in favor of a 4.2 liter 255 cubic inch V8s that delivered better fuel economy. The 255 was the only V8 offered in 1980 and 1981. Basically, a sleeved down 302, it produced 89 kilowatts. So, 89 kilowatts, 121 PS, 120 horsepower, the lowest power ever for a Mustang V8. The 255 was mated only with the 3-speed automatic transmission. This meant the 2.3 liter turbo was the sole performance engine. The turbo 2.3, plagued with reliability issues, was an option through 1981. It was dropped for 1982 in the U.S. while remaining available in Canada. An improved version would return in a new for 1983 Turbo GT. The traction lock limited slip differential was available for the first time in 1981 with all engine combinations. A Tremec 5-speed manual option arrived late during the 1980 model year, available only with the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder engines. All right, so we got 1983 to 1986. So I figure we should do that. Yes, let's do it. So 1983 to 1986. While most of the Mustang was carried over in late 1982 for 1983, there were some changes and improvements on the then 5-year-old Fox platform model. The front fascia was restyled with a new rounded nose and reshaped grille. New wider horizontal taillights with dedicated amber turn signals replaced the vertical sectioned units. This was also the first Mustang to use the blue oval Ford emblem on the exterior, both front and rear. Ford added a convertible to the Mustang line for 1983 after a 9-year absence. The majority of the convertibles were equipped with a new 3.8 liter 232 cubic inch Essex engine, V6. That was Canadian V6, which replaced the 3.3-liter 200 cubic inch inline-six engine. The small block 302 cubic inch 4.9-liter, also in reference as a 5-liter V8 engine, received a 4-barrel carburetor and a new intake manifold, bringing power to 130 kilowatts. So 130 kilowatts, 176 PS, 174 horsepower. The 2.3-liter 4-cylinder turbo also returned mid-year 1983, now fuel injected and producing 108 kilowatts, 146 PS, 145 horsepower. Sales of the Turbo GT were hurt by a higher base price and lower performance than the 4.9-liter 302 cubic inch V8. For 1984, the GL and GLX were dropped, leaving the L, GT, and Turbo GT, while adding new additions, the LX and SVO. Ford also recognized the 20th anniversary of the Mustang with the GT350. Essentially a limited run of GTs and Turbo GTs. A total of 5,261 GT350 hatchback and convertible models were built, all trimmed with Oxford white exteriors and Canyon red interiors. They featured red GT350 rocker stripes and tri-bar pony emblems on the front fenders. Two 302 cubic inch 4.9-liter V8s V8 engines were available. A carbureted version with a manual gearbox only, or a new 123 kilowatt, 167 PS, 165 horsepower electronically fuel injected engine with an automatic gearbox only. A new Quadrashock rear suspension, which replaced the slapper bars with horizontally mounted axle shocks, became available after a few months of production. After 1984, the TRX option was retired from the Mustang. The new Mustang SVO appeared first in 1984 and was produced through 1986. The 2.3-liter turbocharged inline-four produced initially 130 kilowatts, 176 PS, 175 horsepower for 1984, uprated to 153 kilowatts, 208 PS, 205 horsepower, beginning halfway through the 1985 model year and ending with 149 kilowatts, 202 PS, 149 kilowatts, 202 PS, 200 horsepower for 1986. Four-wheel brake rotors or discs. So four-wheel brake rotors, 16-inch wheels, and an SVO specific biplane rear wing were a few of the differences between the SVO and the rest of the Mustang line. The unique front fascia featured an offset hood intake duct for the turbo intercooler and a grill-less nose with sunken single rectangular seamed beam headlights, flush inboard parking lights, and wraparound outer turn signal lights. The front end was intended to use flush aerodynamic composite headlamps with replaceable bulbs, so light bulbs, but the U.S. DOT had not approved these in time for production. Aero headlights finally appeared on the 1985 and a half, so it's like halfway of 1985 SVO. Haggerty Insurance, specializing in classic cars, calls the introduction of the first 149 kilowatt, 203 PS, 200 horsepower Mustang in 1985. So 200 horsepower Mustang in 1985, the end of the malaise era in American auto design. Also refers to malaise, which spells MALAISE era, also refers to the U.S. automotive industry for roughly the early 1970s throughout the early to mid 80s. Characterized by malaise, poor products, and generalized industry unease, an era of profound adjustment as the U.S. automotive industry adapted to meet wholly new demands for new, fuel-efficient, more safe, and less polluting products. So, malaise era in American auto design. For 1985, the front fascia was redesigned with the grille-less nose with a horizontal air intake slot. The Mustang GT received new E5AE. New E5AE cylinder heads, a revised Holley four-barrel carburetor, a new and more aggressive roller camshaft, only in models with a manual gearbox, less restrictive exhaust manifolds, and a Suedo, I think it's spelled PSEUDO, dual exhaust, which brought more power to a conservatively rated 157 kilowatts, 213 PS, 210 horsepower engine. This would be the last carbureted V8 in the Mustang. The 1985 model year dropped both the L and the Turbo GT, leaving the LX, GT, and SVO models. For 1986, Ford released the first multi-port fuel-injected 302 cubic inch 4.9 liter V8 rated at 149 kilowatts, 203 PS, 200 horsepower. In 1986, the Mustang GT saw drivetrain upgrades, including a new 10.5-inch upgraded from a 10-inch clutch, a 7.5-inch rear end continued in 2.3 and the 2.3 turbo and 3.8 liter applications, but 302 cubic inch 4.9 liter models included a new 8.8-inch unit. Central fuel injection was used on the non-turbo 2.3 liter in automatic versions, but was dropped the following year and replaced with a more efficient multi-port fuel injection. The rear center high-mounted brake light was now mounted on the now standard rear wing for hatchbacks, inside the bottom of the rear window of the coupe, and on the rear edge of the standard luggage rack on convertibles. Now we got engines. There's a lot. So engines for the 1983. So for the 1983 to 1986 models included the 2.3 liter, the 2.3 liter turbo, now fuel injected. I'll be back.